They called it a breakthrough. A next-generation analytics platform that executives bragged about in earnings calls, one that promised real-time insight, automated compliance, and predictive modeling that could save companies billions. Screens lit up with applause emojis. Slack channels exploded with congratulations. No one mentioned Ava Monroe. She was still at her desk when the celebration started, third floor, corner seat, back against a glass wall smudged with fingerprints. 6 monitors glowed softly in front of her, each one running a different layer of the system she had designed from the ground up. Architecture. Licensing. Fail-safes. Every line of logic passed through her hands. Ava hadn't slept properly in weeks. She survived on vending machine coffee and protein bars, staying late to fix problems before anyone else even knew they existed. She wasn't chasing praise. She was chasing stability, something that came from things working the way they were supposed to. At 9:07 p.m., her manager, Caleb Wright, walked past her desk laughing into his phone. Yeah, it's live, he said. Took the team months, but we crushed it. The team. Ava watched him disappear into the elevator without slowing down. She opened her email. Nothing. No thank you. No bonus confirmation. No acknowledgement. Just an automated message reminding staff to update their weekly goals. She leaned back and stared at the ceiling, counting the tiny cracks in the drywall. Somewhere upstairs, executives toasted champagne. Somewhere in the building, her name was being removed from slides. What no one upstairs remembered, what Caleb had skimmed over during onboarding, was the paperwork. Ava wasn't just an engineer. She was the designated system architect. That title came with responsibilities. It also came with a license agreement she had negotiated herself 2 years earlier, back when the company was desperate, and she was indispensable. Most people signed contracts like chores. Ava read every word. She minimized her dashboard and opened a folder she hadn't touched in months. Inside were documents labeled neatly, carefully archived. License authority, conditional access. Her cursor hovered over one clause. She didn't smile. She didn't feel angry. She just felt aware. Upstairs, Caleb raised a glass and took credit for a system that ran because Ava Monroe allowed it to. The next morning smelled like burnt coffee and artificial optimism. Posters reading "Winning Together" were taped along the hallway, already peeling at the corners. Ava Monroe arrived early, as usual. Her badge beeped once, green light steady. Still employed. Still invisible. At 9:15 a.m., Caleb Wright finally stopped by her desk. He didn't sit. Quick thing, he said, voice casual, eyes already drifting toward his phone. Your performance bonus didn't clear this cycle. Ava blinked. Once? Didn't clear, she asked. Caleb shrugged. Policy shift. Finance tightened things up after launch. You know how it is. No, she didn't. The bonus wasn't a perk. It was written into her employment agreement, tied to system delivery, uptime, and launch success. All boxes checked. All metrics exceeded. The platform had handled 4 times the expected traffic without a single outage. That's temporary? Ava asked. Caleb smiled, the kind that avoided commitment. Let's revisit next quarter. Next quarter. He tapped her desk lightly, as if sealing the conversation, then walked away without waiting for a response. Ava stared at the spot where he'd been standing. Her inbox filled with requests, reports, dashboards, tweaks for executives preparing press releases. Everyone wanted her output. No one wanted to pay for it. She delivered everything on time. Not because she was loyal. Because she was precise. By lunch, she overheard her name mentioned in a meeting room. She's solid, but we need to manage costs, someone said. Caleb replied, she'll adapt. Ava ate alone, scrolling through Slack threads where executives congratulated each other. Screenshots of her dashboards appeared with captions like "Huge win for leadership." She closed the app and opened something else. The license. Page 12. Appendix D, subsection 3. The clause. It wasn't dramatic. No threatening language. Just a clean legal sentence tying system authorization to the continued compensated employment of the named architect. Her name. No compensation meant no compliance. She didn't plan revenge. Not yet. She copied the clause into a private note and saved it under a neutral file name. Then she went back to work, calm and efficient, while upstairs the company celebrated a system that was quietly, legally, standing on a trapdoor. By Wednesday, the celebration emails hadn't stopped. Subject lines screamed "historic launch" and "a new era for data at Orion Corporation." Ava Monroe's work was everywhere, screenshots, charts, metrics, but her name was nowhere. The internal postmortem document dropped at 10:07 a.m., polished and branded like a victory parade. She opened it slowly. Page after page of architecture diagrams she had designed. Workflow descriptions she had written. Even her phrasing appeared word for word, lifted straight from Slack messages and old design docs. Authored by Caleb Wright, VP of Operations, Product Lead. Ava scrolled to the end, just to be sure. Nothing. She wasn't angry. Anger was loud. This was quieter than that. She created a new folder on her laptop and named it Archive. Inside, she began saving things, Slack threads with timestamps, version histories, code commits, email approvals, contract redlines. Not as a threat. As a record. Around noon, the murmurs started. "Hey, did legal ever fully sign off on the vendor license?" someone asked in the engineering channel. Another replied, "Yeah, probably. It's standard." Ava didn't look up from her screen. She already knew what legal hadn't read. That afternoon, she opened the license agreement again, not just the clause, but the entire document. She remembered the negotiation clearly. How the vendor had pushed back. How Caleb had skipped the call. How she'd insisted on stronger language after overhearing talk of outsourcing her role once the system stabilized. Insurance, she'd called it. At 3:42 p.m., she drafted an email. No emotion. No accusation. Subject: FYI potential license alignment issue to Rebecca Lynn, Legal Counsel. Hi Rebecca, looping you in on the analytics vendor license, specifically Appendix D. There may be compliance implications if compensation terms aren't aligned. Attaching for reference. Thanks, Ava. She attached the signed PDF and hit send. Nothing exploded. No alarms. No responses. That was the beauty of it. Legal issues didn't arrive screaming. They arrived politely, wearing calm subject lines and carrying consequences. By end of day, Ava was removed from one Slack channel. Then another. Her calendar invite for the weekly stand-up disappeared. They were isolating her. Caleb thought he was containing a problem. What he didn't realize was that the problem was already documented, signed, timestamped, and now sitting in legal's inbox. Ava packed up at 6 sharp, slipped her encrypted backup drive into her bag, and walked out without a backward glance. Behind her, Orion Corp was still running. But its heartbeat was officially out of compliance. The reply came at 8:14 a.m. Ava was already at her desk, coffee untouched, inbox open like she'd been waiting for a verdict. The sender name alone told her enough. Rebecca Lynn, Legal. Hi Ava, thanks for flagging this. We are reviewing Appendix D now. Quick question, has your compensation structure changed since the license execution date? Best, Rebecca Ava exhaled slowly. That was it. That was the hinge. She answered carefully. Hi Rebecca, yes. My performance bonus was removed last quarter. No amendment was issued or countersigned. Let me know if you need documentation. Ava, she attached one more file. A clean PDF. HR notice. Date stamped. No legal addendum attached. Send. 10 minutes later, her access to the analytics dashboard was revoked. Not the system itself, just the reporting layer. A message from IT followed, bland and rehearsed. Temporary access changed due to role realignment. Ava almost smiled. They were reacting now. At 9:03 a.m., a calendar invite appeared. Subject, quick sync from Caleb Wright attendees, Ava Monroe, no agenda. She joined exactly on time. Caleb's camera was already on. Perfect lighting. The practiced expression of someone about to sound reasonable. Ava, he said warmly, I heard you reached out to legal. She didn't deny it. They are the right channel for license questions. His smile tightened. You should have come to me first. She met his eyes through the screen. You changed my compensation without legal review. Silence. Then a laugh, forced. Let's not dramatize. Adjustments happen. Appendix D doesn't allow them, Ava replied evenly. Not without vendor notification. Caleb leaned back. You're overthinking this. No, she said. I'm reading. Another pause. This one heavier. Look, he said, lowering his voice, you're valuable. But pushing this could complicate things. There it was. The warning disguised as concern. Ava nodded once. I've already documented everything. His eyes flicked away for half a second. The call ended politely. Too politely. At 11:26 a.m., legal sent a company-wide notice. Subject, temporary suspension of Orion Analytics platform, compliance review ***. People panicked in Slack. Meetings froze. Dashboards went dark. The platform that ran Orion's forecasts, client reporting, and internal KPIs went offline in one clean stroke. Caleb messaged her directly. Caleb, did you know this would happen? Ava, I knew it was possible. By afternoon, the CFO was asking questions. By evening, the board wanted answers. And Ava Monroe, quiet, sidelined, written out of the narrative, was suddenly the only person in the building who knew exactly how to turn the system back on. She shut her laptop at 6 p.m. tomorrow, they would negotiate. The first real crack inside Orex Dynamics didn't come with a headline or a lawsuit. It arrived quietly, disguised as calendar silence. An emergency invite appeared in inboxes at 2:57 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Subject, urgent, Koru account transition, mandatory attendance. By 9 sharp, 7 senior executives logged into the call. Faces looked hollow, ties crooked, coffee clutched like life support. Ethan Cross, overdressed in a sharp cobalt blazer, joined last. He flashed a practiced smile, the kind meant to project confidence, but only magnified panic. All right, team, Ethan said, clapping once. Let's get ahead of this narrative. But there was no narrative left to manage. Koru International wasn't returning calls. No meeting confirmations. No clarifications. Not even a rejection. Just silence. Ethan had already assigned a replacement for Maya Lin, a director from the London office named Charlotte Reeves, fluent in French and painfully unprepared for Asia-Pacific negotiations. Her introductory email, sent with overconfidence, went unanswered. 2 follow-ups followed. Then nothing. Ethan escalated. He called Koru's executive assistant. Voicemail. He messaged their business lead on WeChat. Read. No reply. He emailed legal. The message bounced back. Recipient has left the organization. What Ethan didn't know, what no one at Aurex fully grasped yet, was that Koru hadn't paused. They'd moved on. Cleanly. Without drama. Without warning. Meanwhile, Maya sat at a rooftop bar in Singapore, redlining an expansion agreement with Koru's Southeast Asia partners. Jazz hummed softly in the background. The city glowed below like a living circuit board. Her phone buzzed again. A Shanghai AI startup wanted an exploratory call. A Tokyo logistics firm asked if she was still independent. A German VP she hadn't spoken to in months emailed 3 words, "Are you available?" Maya replied to each the same way, brief, precise, discreet. Then she attached a file, RC Apex, Proposal v1.pdf. Back at Aurex HQ, Ethan unraveled. He stormed into HR, voice sharp, hands shaking. "We need to shut her down. Now?" The HR analyst, fresh-faced and painfully thorough, blinked. "On what grounds?" "She's breaching contract. Poaching clients. That's IP theft or something." The analyst scrolled, frowning. "Her termination file isn't complete." "What?" "She was removed from payroll, yes, but there's no finalized separation. No signed NDA. No non-compete. Nothing uploaded to compliance." Ethan felt the room tilt. "You're telling me," he said slowly, "we fired her, but never finished firing her?" The analyst hesitated. "I believe you said you'd handle it personally." The silence that followed was lethal. By evening, legal confirmed the truth. Maya Lin was completely unbound. The warning arrived at 2:41 a.m. Singapore time, delivered through an encrypted Proton Mail address that existed for less than an hour. Subject: "They are coming after you." Maya Lin read the message in the blue glow of her apartment, the Marina Bay skyline flickering behind the glass like a living graph. The sender stayed anonymous, but the wording carried the scent of internal panic. "Legal is drafting a retroactive non-compete. Ethan is pushing for backdated enforcement. They want to frame your client outreach as corporate sabotage." Maya stared at the words longer than necessary. Then she smiled. Not with joy. Not with surprise. With recognition, the calm certainty of someone watching an opponent walk straight into a trap they forgot had been set weeks ago. She closed the email and padded barefoot into her home office. The workstation powered up silently, no cloud syncs, no logs, mirrored drives locked behind biometric access. She navigated to a folder labeled, Aurex for HR, a contractual. Ordered inside sat a PDF dated 6 weeks before her termination. It was her own compliance request. A polite, meticulously worded email to HR requesting clarification of contractual obligations following a title adjustment under Ethan Cross's restructuring. She'd followed up twice. Then again. 3 emails. 1 Slack ping. All time-stamped. No response. No updated NDA. No non-compete. No addendum. And then, the fatal line. An internal message from Ethan himself, 2 days before the Shanghai meeting. "I'll handle Maya's exit personally. No need to loop legal. Just cut her access." Corporate arrogance dressed up as efficiency. And it was damning. Maya zipped the files into an encrypted archive and sent them to Alina Mercer, a corporate defense attorney known for dismantling overconfident executives with surgical precision. Subject: potential escalation, review requested. The second email took longer. It went to Naomi Keller, senior reporter at Business Ledger. Naomi had reached out months earlier asking about quiet instability inside Aurex. Maya had declined then. Now she wrote carefully. No drama. Just dates, memos, actions taken, and ignored. She ended with one line: "If you'd like to see what weaponized oversight looks like, call me." Maya shut the laptop and poured herself a glass of water with lime. She didn't celebrate. This wasn't revenge. It was positioning. By morning, Alina called. "They are bluffing," she said flatly. "A retroactive non-compete would collapse in discovery. We have intent, negligence, and proof." "Good," Maya replied. "I don't want them to back off." A pause. "What do you want, then?" Maya looked out over the waking city. "I want daylight," she said. "And I want their version of events to die in it." On the other side of the world, Aurex Dynamics was already bleeding, quietly, steadily, while its leadership still believed they were in control. They weren't. The story didn't break with a scream. It surfaced as a whisper. 5 lines, buried deep in the international business section of the Straits Journal. A multinational logistics firm has entered a strategic partnership with a boutique consultancy based in Singapore to oversee Asia-Pacific integration. No names. No logos. No drama. But inside Aurex Dynamics, alarms went off anyway. When 3 former Aurex client data rooms logged access from the same unfamiliar IP address, compliance flagged it. When Koru International quietly cancelled every pending license renewal, legal froze. And when the COO of Koru sent a 7-word reply to Ethan Cross's final email, "We are moving in a different direction," the room went cold. By noon in New York, Aurex stock dipped 6%. Low volume, sharp drop, the kind that made seasoned traders look twice. Slack channels went silent. One message sat unanswered for hours: "Does anyone know where Charlotte Reeves is?" At 6:18 p.m., Business Ledger published the piece. Title: Aurex Dynamics in Transition, Inside the Koru Disengagement. It was careful. Polite. Devastating. Halfway down, buried in context, the thunder cracked. Sources confirm Koru's new advisory partner includes former Aurex executive Maya Lin, now operating under RC Apex Consulting. The market reacted instantly. By the next morning, Aurex stock was down 17%. Trading halted before noon. At the same time, 47 floors above Singapore, Maya sat in a glass-walled conference room overlooking the city. On the screen before her, Koru's North American expansion team, legal and operations aligned. "We are ready to finalize," their lead said, in Mandarin. The numbers were staggering. Nearly triple the original Aurex deal. 3 regions. Full strategic control. No intermediaries. Maya scanned the final clause, nodded once, and signed. A notification blinked on her tablet: Ethan Cross placed on administrative leave pending investigation. She closed it without reading further. There was no victory speech. No champagne. Just clarity. No office politics. No ego management. No man framing her work as his idea. Only her name. Her firm. Her rules. Outside, the city moved: buses, heat, voices, life, unaware of the quiet transfer of power that had just reshaped an industry. Maya opened her calendar and scheduled her next board meeting. Tuesday,